It was the judge's own idea. I don't think anybody asked for it. I think the judge is wrong to do that.
The judge?
Yes, it's the judge's idea.
But he doesn't know the relationship I have with Patty. He doesn't know, how we live over there and, that we're very close friends. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's unbelievable.
Listen, let me ask you something. You didn't have to talk to those detectives. You didn't have to say a word to them.
Well...
So did you talk to them?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah,
you had a right to remain silent until you had counsel.
Yeah, well, they called me off guard, and they got me at a very bad time with my infection, and it was just awful,
Yeah, that's too bad, and you should have, you didn't, and they shouldn't have done anything without counsel. You should have had counsel.
Yeah, it's awful, It's just a big mess.
And what was this yesterday when they increased your bail to $25,000?
I don't know. No, that's the bond.
No, the bail went up, let's see. The bail went up to 25.
No, 10,000. The bail and the bond went up to 25.
Oh, and the bail went up to 10,000.
Right.
And the bond went up to 25.
Right.
Well, they're nothing but money makers. They're just...
Yeah. See, these guys here that I'm with, you can't imagine the stories what happened to these people in the courtroom.
Yes, it's awful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw it. I witnessed it. There was one woman in there in jail because she went to the Thruway Diner. The bill was $9 and all she had was $7, and they put her in jail.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. The stories, I'm sitting here when they tell the stories, these guys, and my mouth drops to the floor. How could people, I don't understand. How do people do that?
Yeah, they steal from the poor.
Yeah, they're shaking everybody upside down.
Yeah, and if you're rich, you can get out of jail. If you're poor, you stay in jail.
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's written on the wall. Someone wrote that on the wall. Make sure you have a $5 or $10 lawyer. In other words, pay for a lawyer. Don't use legal aid. What they're trying to say is if you pay a lawyer, you'll get out. You use legal aid, you're not getting out.
Really?
Because legal aid is guys that just make it.
Oh, really?
So, anyway, tell Patty, and if you could, you have my address here?
No, what is it?
Okay, you're gonna write?
Yes, I'm ready. Take it.
Victor Garfield.
Yes.
Top line. Victor Garfield on the top line.
Yes.
Second line. WCDOC, abbreviated, Westchester County Department of Corrections, but don't write it out. Just put the initials.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, then next to that, on the same line,
Yeah.
4, the number 4, slash,
Yes. 0595. Okay.
Now tell Patty to send money order if she can, whatever she can spare.
Okay.
And the money order, you'll mail it to that address. Put my name on the money order and put the sender's name and address on the money order.
Okay.
If you're coming with cash, then when you come with cash, they'll take it from you and put it in my account. Do not send cash in the mail.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, I heard what you said.
Okay.
Nakrita is so lonesome.
I don't want to hear bad news.
No, Nakrita, she's all right, but she's just so lonesome.
I know, but she has Patty there with her.
No, well, that's not you.
Yeah, but please tell me that, she is fine.
Yeah, she's okay.
I don't want to hear that she's sad.
No, she's sad, but she's okay.
Okay, but I don't even want to hear that she's sad.
Well, you do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're clear on that now, okay?
Yes.
All right, money orders?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So whatever you guys can spare, I'll give it back to you, believe me.
Okay, Victor.
I'll pay the money back. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
All right? You could call Patty tonight, or when you get off the phone, let her know that, all right?
Well, maybe I will and maybe I won't.
Yeah.
Okay.
All righty.
All right, Victor.
How's my Rocky boy?
Oh, Rocky's in good shape, but he misses you. Boy, that costs a lot of money. Did you use leased access at Cablevision?
What's Cablevision? Who's this gig?
My name's Glenn.
So, folks, Saturday, it took me 8 hours. And the only thing I got done here that had to get done was the morning chores. 7 legal papers did not get done. And it took me 8 hours. Patty and I went up to the county jail. And we saw Victor and visited with him. And he's in very good spirits. And he's in a good mood and upbeat. And lots of laughter and lots of exchange of humor. I don't think I want to go to a jail again. But I prefer not to. If you're called, you're called. I don't like seeing that kind of dehumanization, that kind of retrogression in the human pilgrim's progress. But we did a good thing. Unfortunately, going into the grounds, by the way, it's beautiful. It's like a country club or like a college dormitory. And they do have rooms. And Victor says that the rooms are just like the rooms you had in college. There's a bed, a shower, and a sink. Pretty nice. They had basketball, and they had TV sets, and Victor reads the New York Times, and so they call him an aristocrat. And when you go in to visit the people, it's like a cafeteria. They have little tables, and there's 3 chairs at a table. And the visitor goes in and sits down at one of the tables, is assigned a table, and then the person that you visit comes and sits with you. It's all very, very nice. Very nice. That's the Westchester County Jail. And so I needed 2 leashes because that dog across the street ran away with the leash. And late last night I found a woman called and said she had found the dog. And I didn't know the dog was lost. And the dog was on her lawn, and the name of this nice woman was Kathy Kelly. And so I called Kathy and gave her the information. Yet when I saw Ray Sunday morning, and I notified the animal shelter, see if they found the dog. Fortunately, I put on Rusty's tag so that the dog had my telephone number, and they could get in touch with me so I could save the dog. And of course, they were calling the dog Rusty. So they kept the dog for 4 hours Saturday afternoon. And I was so busy with Victor and for Franklin, who was fallen, and taking care of Franklin, that I didn't hear this telephone call until evening. And so I was joyous that the dog was all right. But guess what else? The dog escaped. Not escaped, but he chose to run off again. So I was worried all evening long about that. But this morning, just as I was going to church, I heard the familiar yelping and yapping. And it was the dog. And for once, I was happy to hear all that noise. And I went over to see Ray Sims. And Ray was all dressed up for church. My, he looked nice. And I says, what about the dog? He says, I don't know. When I got home last night, the dog was home. So he had his fling. He went over just one street. Fortunately, he stayed away from the high traffic street where he could have got killed and been a little furry body in the gutter. Thank God. And so Ray said to his daughter, call a taxi so we can get to church. And I said, no, I will drive you to church. So I drove 4 of them to church. It was quite a ways, 2, 3, 4 miles. And I found my way back here, and I went to church. And we had the usher's dinner, and it was good. The desserts were particularly good. Of course, I don't eat meat, but I ate their green beans and their mixed vegetables, and their potatoes were not cooked. They were still hard. So that's why they need a woman on the ushers committee. And then I filled up plates and brought them home to Franklin, and then I went over, I took Rusty for the walk up and down North Avenue, and then I went over to see Patty, and Patty wanted to go see Franklin. That was nice of her, very nice of her. She dropped everything to go see him. I went up to see Nikrita, and the tumor has a bloody spot on it, as if the tumor had dragged on the carpet. So we got to take care of that. And Rocky, he wanted me to take him for a walk, but I'm never going to take Rocky for a walk again. He's just too strong. He pulled me down the last Sunday, and that's it. But what seems to assuage his desire for something is to go out into the backyard and throw the tennis ball and chase it, and then he chases it and catches it, and then I make believe I'm trying to get it away from him and do that for a while, and then he seems very calm. He comes in the house. He's all calmed down. So I led Patty over here to see Franklin, and they had a lovely visit. And then Hazel came from church, and she's so nice because she works in Greenwich. She leaves at 7 o'clock in the morning, doesn't get home until 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning. All she's got is her weekend, and here she came and spent 2 or 3 hours with Franklin. So as soon as I could, I took Acumen Dog down to the Kellys, and because they seem to want to adopt him, and I guess they're thinking of it, and that's where the dog is now. She went to the store, she brought him 2 bags full, and they have a lovely yard and a lovely house, huge yard. And I just put the expenses in the book and the mileage in the book. And I think we're up to date. This is Sunday, March the 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day, and the time is 5 p.m. And would you like some jokes? I thought of a joke to tell you, and I should have written it down. The nervous father in the maternity ward said to another man there, "Here, have a cigar." And the other man said, "Oh, congratulations. Is it a boy or a girl?" And the nervous father said, "I don't know one cigar from another." And why is the average age of a policeman 37? They like to get them when they're fresh out of high school. And Uncle John was given the honor of naming the twins, a boy and a girl. And so Uncle John named the girl Denise, and he named the boy the nephew. And Marilyn said to her husband, "We should move into a more expensive apartment." And her husband says, "No, just wait a while. The landlord's going to raise the rent on this one." Mary asked the travel agents, "How long does it take to fly to Rome?" And the travel agent says, "Just a minute." And Mary says, "Ooh, that's really fast." And remember, behind every successful man is a proud wife and what? A flabbergasted mother-in-law.
I sent back your pistons. Did you get them?
I got it today.
Yeah, and I gave you all the old ones. I'm not going to bother.
So weird.
No, I'm not going to bother with that, Joe. Forget it.
That came out of boxes that said Mark.
So you can see it by video. This is William and Celeste Budrow, sued a pile of judges for their violation of federal law. Here is the case. It's in the United States District Court of Northern Mississippi. William W. Budrow and Celeste Leone Budrow, plaintiffs. Versus Julia Smith Gibbons, a judge in the United States District Court, Western District of Tennessee, Memphis. And here's the whole pile of judges that they sued. And they were very brave to do so. And I'm going to read to you their cause of action and what they had to put up with at the hands of cheaters and money grabbers who acted as quote-unquote officers of the court. Plaintiffs William W. Budrow and Celeste Leone Budrow are the victims of an obstruction of justice conspiracy by the defendants, in that plaintiffs have been trapped in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Western District of Tennessee, Memphis, Western Division since December 19, 1994, 7 years. Nearly 7 full years. Their entrapment began with a bad legal advice to file bankruptcy and has been made interminable by the unethical actions and inactions of the defendants herein named, there are about 80 of them, who appear to have convinced themselves, as well as the courts, that property belonging to legal spendthrift trusts and or to the Budrow's adult son can be thrown into the pot as bankruptcy assets. Let me go over that. The Budrow's, Celeste Budrow's father, Antone Leone, was a wrestler. And he was very good at it and very successful at it. And he made a great deal of money. And he left all of his money to his only grandson, William Christopher Budrow. And Celeste is the trustee of that money. Now, how come Celeste and Bill went bankrupt? They bought a lot of antiques and they thought they were going to sell them at a good price, but it all backfired. They did not sell them at a good price, and they ran out of money. And the woman from whom they bought the antiques hired a lawyer who went after their house in Connecticut, went after the Budrow's house in Connecticut, or that of her son. Her son really owns a house. And to protect themselves, Bill and Celeste went bankrupt. And then what happens is the people in the bankruptcy court, the United States trustee, and other crooked lawyers, and the United States district judge all conspired to get the money in the trust and make it bankruptcy property, which it wasn't. It's to get their hands on that money. And so they wanted to get this to the common weal and individual gain of most, if not all, of the defendants herein named. Plaintiffs were and continue to be damaged in business and property by denial of basic constitutional rights and meaningful access to the courts, by defendant William Houston Brown, a bankruptcy judge, was initially wrought in the hands of a judge who is mentally incompetent. Following the recusal of Judge Brown, the successor judge, David S. Kennedy, who also happens to be the chief bankruptcy judge for the Western District of Tennessee, Memphis, has simply sat and done nothing to correct the wrongs that went on before him. That's pretty good that they got William Houston Brown to recuse. Prosecution of an adversary proceeding within the bankruptcy case is at the hands of the Chapter 7 bankruptcy trustee. Hear this name and remember it well. L. To denote Monta Donico, and his hired guns, counsel John E. McManus, Thomas H. Fulton, James L. Kirby, and the firms of Harris, Shelton, Dunlap, and Cobb, Coffey, Kaywood, Taylor, McManus, and Bailey, and others who intimidated witnesses, suborned perjury, and obstructed justice in order to loot non-bankruptcy estate property from legal trusts established years ago by Mrs. Budrow's father, Antone Leone, for the benefit of his only grandson, the adult son of the Budrows. Defendant, Chapter 7, Bankruptcy Trustee Edward L. Montedonico, recognizing both the deteriorating mental condition of defendant, the William Houston Brown, bankruptcy judge, and the very apparent willingness of defendant David S. Kennedy to sit back simply and do nothing, usurp the judicial function of both the William Houston Brown and the David S. Kennedy by writing their orders and opinions for them. In other words, the U.S. bankruptcy trustee wrote the orders and opinions for the Brown and for Kennedy, the two bankruptcy judges, taking advantage of the mental condition of defendant William Houston Brown and the laissez-faire attitude of defendant David S. Kennedy, at the same time attempting to build himself a huge nest egg Antone Leone. Why do we have static on the mic? Other government officers and agencies, as well as the League of Private Attorneys who took money to appear in the underlying bankruptcy case, are aware of the improper actions of the controlling bankruptcy trustee Edward L. Montedonico and the presiding judges, and have taken positive steps to conceal the actions of William Houston Brown and David S. Kennedy and of the bankruptcy trustee in violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 1503. Obstruction of justice. The adversary proceeding has been used by the trustee and others in a thinly veiled campaign to force plaintiffs through years of enduring interminable stress and expense into a physical, emotional, and financial state would force them to give up and give in the corrupt actions of the defendants, and B, to force plaintiff's adult son, who has nothing whatsoever to do with his parents' bankruptcy filing, to be unlawfully stripped of his rightful inheritance simply because his mother was named as a trustee for trust to which he is the sole beneficiary. Just a second, I have to explain what an adversary proceeding is. It was an adversary proceeding that we had in the Scott Lord bankruptcy case, okay? Scott Lord went bankrupt. When you go bankrupt, you're asking for the protection by the United States government against your creditors. You have to give all, or most all, of your assets to the United States government. But then Glendora pointed out that Scott Lord had committed fraud in going bankrupt. And so then in this case, it wasn't the United States trustee. It was a private trustee. And so this private trustee turned around and sued Scott Lord for fraud and made him pay fines. And the bankruptcy judge approved them, and Scott Lord had to pay fines. That was what you call an adversary proceeding. Now, this case jurisdiction is brought under the Civil RICO Act. RICO stands for Racketeering Influence Crime Organization, and that's what we have here. This court is a racketeering influence crime organization. They use extortion. They're an enterprise. They commit predicate acts, more than one. Okay, now the title of that, or the numbers for that, is codified as in the U.S. Code as Title 18, U.S. Code 1964. And let me read it to you. The district courts of the United States shall have jurisdiction to prevent and restrain violation of Section 1962 of this chapter by issuing appropriate orders, including but not limited to ordering any person to divest himself of any interest, direct or indirect, in any enterprise, imposing reasonable restrictions on the future activities or investments of any person, including but not limited to prohibiting any person from engaging in the same type of endeavor as the enterprise engaged in, the activities of which affect interstate or foreign commerce, or ordering dissolution or reorganization of any enterprise making due provision for the rights of innocent persons. So, what does this mean? It means they're trying to take away the property of the son who inherited this wealth by claiming that the trusts belong to the bankruptcy estate. Why did this come about? They saw how much money there was in this trust, or these trusts, and they just wanted to get their hands on it. And by hook or crook, they were going to steal it by saying that it was bankruptcy property. Who are the parties now? It's the people in the court, the judges, the district judges, the bankruptcy judges, the district judges, the U.S. attorneys, the bankruptcy trustees, the United States bankruptcy trustees, the lawyers that the Budrows hired and who did nothing for them and went over with the U.S. Trustee to try to get the money and get part of it too. That's the conspiracy. Title 28 U.S. Code, Section 1331, the General Federal Question Statute. Title 28 U.S. Code, Section 1332, the Diversity Jurisdiction Statute. A person in one state and a person in another state, that makes diversity of citizenship. The eminent domain statute relative to subject property located within the jurisdiction of this court. This is the basis for the jurisdiction of the court over this lawsuit. This is, in other words, a civil RICO lawsuit. Title 42 U.S. Code 1985, obstructing justice, intimidating party witness or juror. It's the conspiracy code that I have told you about so many times. There's always your civil rights are Section 28 U.S. Code 19. No, your civil rights are Title 42 U.S. Code Section 1983. If anybody who works for the state violates your civil rights, that anybody is liable to you, and its companion is 1985. They conspired against you. Now I'm going to read you 1985. If two or more persons in any state conspire to deter by force, intimidation, or threat any party or witness in any court of the United States from attending such court or from testifying to any matter pending therein freely, fully, and truthfully, or to injure such party or witness in his person or property on account of his having so attended or testify, or to influence the verdict, presentment, or indictment of any grand or petty juror in any such court, or to injure such juror in his person or property on account of any verdict, presentment, or indictment lawfully asserted to by him, or of his being or having been such juror, or if two or more persons conspire for the purpose of impeding, hindering, obstructing, or defeating in any manner the due course of justice in any state, with intent to deny to any citizen the equal protection of the laws, or to injure him or his property for lawfully enforcing or attempting to enforce the right of any person or class of persons to the equal protection of the laws. And so the Budrows are suing these people in the courts because that's exactly what they did. They broke the laws to try to take this money from the trust of the son and to prevent the Budrows for getting equal protection of the bankruptcy law. And Title 28 U.S. Code Sections 2201 and 2202, the Federal Declaratory Relief and Injunctive Relief statutes to declare the rights of persons. And now starts the parties and their addresses. The Budrows live in Stamford, Connecticut, in the trust home. And we go on here for several pages, their names and their addresses of the defendants. And they are lawyers who cheated the Budrows, who double-crossed the Budrows. And as I say, this has gone on for 10 pages out of 33. And then you will find out what these people have done as we read you the complaint. And that's where we'll pick up tomorrow.
The chairman of the FTC. But this doesn't matter because Bush because Dolan gave Bush 246, because Dolan gave Bush 246,000 campaign money and Gore 3,000 campaign money. Bush has appointed Dolan to the transition committee for Colin Powell's son, the FCC.
Oh, good grief.
Yes, so it's really bad business. So I got to do those things.
Yeah.
I got to do lots of things. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, well, Glendora, thanks for the call.
I think you are a great one.
Well, that makes one of you. I appreciate that.
Well, there's two. Franklin does too.
Okay.
But I'm so happy that I'm getting you on TV.
Well, I am too.
This is great.
What I want to see is what kind of response we get.
Yeah, that's good too.
I mean, I want to see people getting up and realizing that, hey, you got to go to war against these dirtbags.
Yeah. This is good. You're terrific. All righty.
Okay, Glendora.
Take care.
Talk later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks, I just want to show you how phony this Dolan shareholder list, Cablevision shareholder list. I want you to know what a fraud it is. See this microphone wire? It gets more mixed up than the way Dolan can mix things up. All of these that you see are letters that have been returned, addressed to these people. Look at that. All of those are letters. These addresses were taken from the phony shareholders list, and they were sent, and they've all been sent back. So that's one thing that Dolan is covering up, is that the shareholders list is a phony. Maybe two, that he doesn't take care of the shareholders list. I certainly know that the people who used to take care of it, Chase Mellon, I know they're no good. Investment services, they're no good. They're just investments. You. And another is the file paginating hours and dollars has to be done every week. It's done first with the Dolan crowd, and then the omnibus lawsuit that has taken 145.5 hours and $450.45. Gerald Levin saying that he won't cablecast non-resident programs. That has taken $6,004.23. And it has taken $480 hours. Kasari, the crooked landlord in New Rochelle, that has taken $1,310.75 hours and $915. New York Law Journal has taken 369.5 hours and $1,805.91. The New York City Parking Violations Bureau with their fraudulent tickets has taken 293.5 hours and $622.94. And you don't get justice in the courts, you see. Courts have been stolen from you. The court officer who pushed Glendora and a camera and shoved us into the elevator has taken 1,813 hours and has cost $1,696. No public access at Public Access TV in Washington, D.C. has taken 73 hours and $943. And Gulf, the ripoff of Danny Chanchuli at the Gulf Station on North Avenue in New Rochelle, has taken 617 hours, $2,834.20. And the crooked New York cop named O'Rourke and Sergeant Kelly and Edward B. Everett, the crazy street cleaner driver, has taken 486.5 hours, $4,480.28. And Bruiser Ken, since taking him to the United States Supreme Court since then, has taken 98.5 hours and $532.45. Now, next thing to read you is this. This is memorandum number 15, together with a letter to shareholders, number 13. The defendants are Charles F. Dolan, James L. Dolan, Robert S. Lemley, Cablevision Systems Corporation, Charles Former, Victoria B. Salhouse, her secretary Maureen, Paul Ryan, Tony LaValliere, Robert Astorita, Chase Mellon Shareholder Services, Robert Callaghan, Sadly Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Thomas J. Hillgartner is in the United States District Court, District of Glendora, and is Glendora plaintiff versus. Dolan, Former, Ryan violate the laws again on Glendora's 87th exercise of shareholder statutory right to see shareholders' lists. See the books, records, and minutes. 10:20 a.m., February 27, 2001, Tuesday, Franklin Glendora's designated agent asked to see the shareholders' list, books, and records, and minutes pursuant to the state laws. He waited 15 minutes. Switchboard conveyed request to Former. Then Ryan appeared and violated the laws of both states. No, this was demand number 87. The proof is an audio tape. Yes, right before your ears, Dolan violates laws again. What is Dolan doing so wrong? He is covering it up. Delaware court called Glendora February 27th, Tuesday, while she was all day in Long Island editing her TV shows. February 27th, Tuesday at 1 p.m., Franklin went to Rainbow Sales to see the public inspection file on political sponsorships. Not one person was at the reception area desk, and Franklin waited 15 minutes. Glendora called Delaware court today to get the names of her assigned United States District Judge and to get her case number. We called telephone information and got the numbers of leased access producers to call to see their opinions on leased access. Saturday, we called library information. Now this is a picture to them of some of the letters of the shareholders that have been returned from that phony shareholders list. And you want to know something? The least access list is just as phony as the shareholders list. This Dolan cheats everywhere he touches. Glendora versus Lemley, Dolan et al. In the Eastern District of New York. Glendora's answer to Raji's February 7th order is written. It is 90 pages. It took 31 3/4 hours and $79.66 to print and post. There will be no Dolan mailing of 58 this week. End. And we give thanks. Glendora has a record of 76 volumes of Dolan's law-breaking, 24,760 pages, and 7 file drawers. On March the 2nd, Friday, a month since the 4th phony Rainbow shareholder meeting, Glendora called the FCC about Dolan public file leased access. Because of the weather, we could not print Glendora versus Lemley answer to the United States District Court order in Brooklyn. We could not print it at Staples. We had to print it ourselves, and it took from 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. 11.5 hours. 90 pages, 23 sets. It has to be served today. The list of leased access inquirers is as phony as the shareholder list. The people don't exist, and there are no telephone numbers. The letter to shareholders Glendora was forwarded to her from Huntington address taken off the shareholders list. On 88th demand, March the 8th, 2000, at 10 a.m., Franklin asked Helen Johnson to call Charles Dolan office to see the shareholders list, books, and records, and minutes. 25 minutes later, Helen told him no. This is on audio tape and played on TV.